Good morning, cave dwellers. I hope you're well. We're just on this mic today because I've been doing some voiceover work this morning, so might sound a little bit different. This is day 4 of the diaries. I've really been enjoying it so far. I hope you've enjoyed watching it too. I know it's very, very different to what I put on the normal channel, but it's certainly been fun to do, and it's taken my mind off things, which was the objective. So I'm really enjoying it. Now, today I've got show and tells. I've got 3 show and tells for you. 1 from me, 2 from other channels. And we're going to kick off with Dave from the channel Toy Polloi, which is a channel that covers toys rather than computers specifically. But I think a lot of our earliest memories of micros are very much tied in with toys, the toys that surrounded them when we got into computers at a young age, or a lot of us will have done. And yeah, it's just interesting to see what his memories are, and I'll be interested to hear what yours are. But let's watch the video and we'll discuss from there.
When you're growing up, you get invited to lots of sort of birthday parties and things like that. And I remember clearly going to one birthday party. It was to a girl that I was at school with. And I can't remember what happened at the party, but at the end, everybody got given a little goodie bag.
He remembers her name. He hasn't mentioned her name, but he remembers her name, I guarantee it.
Bag which had a toy in it. Now, I think all the boys got given Star Wars figures, and I can't remember what the girls were given, but the Star Wars figure I got in my goodie bag was this, and it's the Hoth Rebel Commander. And I really clearly remember getting this figure at that party. Now, obviously, this isn't my childhood one, because any sort of 6 or 7-year-old child would have just immediately ripped this off the card to play with the figure. But in recent years, I've had to track it down because it was one that I really remembered very clearly, just the artwork on the card and the figure itself. It's still a figure I absolutely love. It's not the most amazing of figures because it doesn't have a great sort of paint job or anything like that, but I just love the way it looks and the fact I remembered getting this, because as a child I didn't get that many new figures. A lot of my figures would come from jumble sales and places like that.
That is really cool, but I can also see in the background there things Dave is not talking about. I can see Optimus Prime on the shelf there from Transformers. I can see just down at the bottom, I can see Murdoch from the A-Team stood there. I think I had a Murdoch. I think I had the A-Team van as a kid, as well as in terms of action figures, I had He-Man and Skeletor, and I had the castle. What was the castle called? Castle Grayskull with the trapdoor at the top. So you'd put Skeletor there, you'd hit the button, and he'd fall through the trapdoor. Endless hours of fun I had with that, and the A-Team van that went everywhere with me.
So I'd only get the old one that would be brand new. And
sorry, I've just spotted on the right hand side there's a Weeble. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Brilliant. It looks a little bit out of place in amongst all of the Star Wars action figures, but it's great that he's there.
Straight off the card, and sort of 100% my own figure, and this was one of those. So it's a really nice memory that I had getting this at a friend's birthday party when I was maybe 6 or 7, something like that. And it's a figure I still love today, and this is one that's proudly in my collection and on display because I just love the card art.
Thank you, Dave. That's really cool. What a gift to get in a birthday bag. I mean, that couldn't have been cheap. That must have been a posh birthday party that you went to, Dave. Who did you hang around with? When I got a goodie bag at a birthday, I got a balloon, I got some jelly beans, and if I was lucky, I got a Mars bar. I did not get a Star Wars action figure. Wow. But it's cool that he said that's not the original one, but it's such a good memory for him that he's gone out and got the same one again. Brilliant. So Dave's channel covers all sorts of things like that. It's covered really well. As I said, there's an episode with me in there if you want to use that to get you started. It's me and a load of other YouTubers just sharing our pocket money memories. So there's a link in the description. Something to go and watch today if you're looking for some entertainment. Now, our next guest is someone who is very familiar to the cave. It's Mark from Mark Fixes Stuff, and he wants to tell us all about his Vectrex. So let's take a look at that video now.
Neil from Retro Man Cave challenged me to do a show and tell in 90 seconds, so I thought I'd show you my incredibly dusty Vectrex. The Vectrex was an interesting system from 1982, and with its vector monitor and its analog controls.
Now, if you lose that controller, you're going to find yourself in a world of pain to try and replace it. I do have a Vectrex with no controller, and it's been pilfered for parts. I don't know that I'll ever get it working. But if you ever see a Vectrex controller, even if you don't own a Vectrex, get hold of it, refurbish it, and look after it.
It gave a really unique game experience. I picked this one up last year because it wasn't working, but with a small amount of preliminary TLC, it sprang to life. There's
Mark Fixes Stuff.
Lots of original games for the Vectrex, and I have a multi-cart, so I'm going to show you 5 of my favourites. First up, it's the simple but incredibly addictive pinball game, Spinball.
Now, Mark did say to me that filming the Vectrex was a nightmare just because of the nature of the screen. So if you see a bit of flicker in here, if you haven't used a Vectrex, it is silky smooth. It looks fantastic. There's just a glow about it. There's a smoothness to it that you don't get on any other system, save for perhaps if you go and sit down on one of the Atari arcade machines, the Vector Atari machines like Star Wars. Then you know exactly what this thing is all about. It's a wonderful, wonderful, unique system. But from the fact that the screens flicker in here, it's not emulation, because you can get an emulated version of this, but the Vectrex emulated is not the same. You've got to have that monitor. So yeah, we know immediately here, it's not emulated. He has captured this.
Second, it's the obvious Tanks ripoff, Armour Attack. Third, everybody knows this one, it's Scramble. Fourth, get away from those crazy robots in this excellent rendition of Berserk. And at number 5, it's the fast-paced Web Wars.
That looks awesome. Look at how the perspective changes on that when he moves.
Very odd and very addictive. Well, I need to start cleaning this up, and it's the end of my 90 seconds, so this means it's the end.
Get scrubbing, Mark. No doubt that will appear on his channel, Mark Fixes Stuff. Again, a link will be down below in the description. Yeah, the Vectrex is just such a unique machine. Did you own one? I don't actually remember seeing them on sale. They weren't rare at the time. They were in stores, but just in my sleepy country town, there weren't many or any of them that I saw in the shops at the time. So it's something I've grown to appreciate in my older age of collecting retro machines. And boy, do I appreciate it. I'd love to have a working one. And whenever I see one at an expo or a museum, I just jump at the chance to play on it because it's such a great machine. Looking at it on the screen there, simple, you know, 2-color graphics, because you had to put an overlay over the top to get any kind of color, a transparent overlay with the colors. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just the way it moves, the way it feels is awesome. So thank you for sharing that with us, Mark. I think that's a really good choice. Now, what have I got to show you? Let me go and grab some boxes. Now, what I've got for you here today is a collection of Freescape games, and I'm really pleased to have these in my collection. Let me give you a close-up of them as we talk about them. And I would like to do an episode on these at some point. We've got Castle Master here. I think these are all for the ZX Spectrum. I think I had Castle Master for the Amstrad. I certainly had this, Total Eclipse, for the Amstrad. Again, these are all Freescape games. Dark Side, I didn't have that one back in the day. And Driller. Now, Freescape is a 3D system that appeared back in the 80s. And it was just phenomenal. It gave fully, let's get you some screenshots. There you go. Fully shaded, filled polygon 3Ds on things like a ZX Spectrum and a Commodore 64 and an Amstrad CPC. It was probably my first experience of filled polygon gaming in an open world setting. I did play a game called Mercenary an awful lot. Let's open a box while I'm talking and see what's in them. Yeah, so I was a huge fan of the Mercenary series, Paul Wokes' Mercenary series. We've got Green Beret in there, which was not filled 3D, but it was an open world wireframe 3D game. And I loved that so much more than Elite because the world of Elite was just so open-ended. It was just an unlimited universe, basically. So to have some limitations felt better to me to be exploring the world of Elite. And it was the same with these Freescape games. You had a mission, you had a quest, you had a different setting for each one. In this case, Castle Master, a castle. And it just felt like I had a bit more focus as to what I needed to do as opposed to Elite. I know a lot of Elite fans will disagree with me on that. But I love them. In here, actually, we've got a Crash Smash collection, including Sweevo's World, which was yesterday's game of the day. If you check the description of these vlog videos every day, there's a game, a song, and all sorts of other choices of the day, just to keep you entertained if you want something to go and explore. We've got a poster in here. Check this out. How cool is this? This needs to go up on the wall. That's awesome. Oh, I won't put it on the wall, honestly, unless I could frame it. I will keep it nice in the box. Now, the wonderful thing about Freescape is it was eventually released in a system called 3D Construction Kit, and that allowed you to make your own Freescape games. It wasn't just about creating a 3D world to walk around. It included a full programming language in there so that you could sequence events to take place. So therefore, you can't get through this door unless you have this key in your inventory. You could make a fully blown game. And it was this huge box, which I don't have, unfortunately, which came with a VHS cassette, which showed you how to do it. Well, it didn't show you how to do everything. You really had to dive into the manual, but it teased you with what you could potentially do. And it came with this demo of the space shuttle, which when I ran it on my Amiga, because I played these on the 8-bits, but I had 3D Construction Kit on the Amiga. Ooh, it was an unaccelerated Amiga, and that thing ground to a halt when it tried to render the space shuttle. It was literally 1 or half a frame a second if you use that object. But you could create much simpler worlds. I think I created my bedroom, I created my house. You know, it was just fascinating to be able to create your own worlds in fully rendered 3D. The one drawback these did have was they felt very lonely. There were people in the games, but they were represented by a couple of triangles or a box with a triangle on the top for the head. Of course, that was just the limitations of the systems at the time. You couldn't create a really good-looking 3D person. So in games like Total Eclipse especially, that kind of feeling of isolation worked. It added to the atmosphere. In other games where you had to go and interact with people, didn't work so well because you didn't really believe they were people. So it was good for that eerie, isolated, can I escape room style feeling as we had in the Pyramid of Total Eclipse. So I've got great memories of those Freescape games. Let me know your memories of them and any other 3D games that you were really into. Hunter on the Amiga, loved. Midwinter, absolutely loved that game. And then you get into the simulations, don't you? Like Formula 1 Grand Prix and the flight sims, and the whole world of 3D opens up to where we get to today. But in the early days, things like this were incredibly impressive, especially on a ZX Spectrum. That's my show and tell for today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these things today, and I hope they've sparked some memories in you and some memories that you might share in the comments, because I'm really, really enjoying seeing your comments on these videos and engaging with you, whether it's biscuits or whether it's games. And if you like this, I'll try and get some other channels involved for some show and tells. It was suggested also over on Discord to perhaps do some video conferencing and just have some chats with other people and share them with you. So I might do that. We'll try anything over here on this channel. And speaking of Discord, if you're not already a member of Discord, I'm in there all day while I'm working here in the cave. I can't always chat because I have to work, but I do have a monitor dedicated to it, so I'm always seeing the chat that's going on there. So if you want to come and chat to over 1,000 other cave dwellers and me, and just keep yourself company, come on over to Discord. The link is in the video description and the pinned comment, and it would be great to see you in there. As always, take care. I hope you're doing well. I hope your cupboards are stocked up and your fridges are overflowing, and stay in your houses. Take care. Bye-bye.